हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू आवर यूट्यूब चैनल। और आज को जो हम टॉपिक डिस्कस करेंगे, हम इक्वालिटी के बारे में डिस्कस करते हैं। हमें पता है ये जो अनअकैडमी का यूपीएससी सीएससी सब्सक्रिप्शन है वो बहुत लिमिटेड पीरियड ऑफ टाइम के लिए है। तो अगर ये लिमिटेड पीरियड ऑफ टाइम में आपको 10% डिस्काउंट मिल रहा है तो बाद में ये प्राइस इंक्रीज हो जाएगा जिसमें आपको डिस्काउंट बिल्कुल नहीं मिलेगा। तो अगर आप बहुत इंटरेस्टेड हो अनअकैडमी तो आप एनरोल कर सकते हो अंडर द कोड ऑफ SIMPLEYT and you will get 10% discount. So subscribe now. So Unacademy Aspire is also providing you with the all India free mock test for civil services aspirants, and it contains UPSC CSC Prelims 2020 paper 1 JS, and it will be conducted on every 10th and 25th of every month, and we are providing you with exciting prizes and scholarship for all top 50 rank holders, and it was conducted on 10th October on 10 a.m. sharp. And as we all know that we have UPSC CSC complete batch preparation courses has already started, and we have 3 complete batch courses. The first is in bilingual, in which the medium of instruction is in Hindi English both. The second is in Hindi, and the third is in English completely. So in whichever language you are comfortable in, you can enroll for that complete batch courses. That is already started from 5th October. And as we all know, this one subscription has unlimited benefits. Like we can learn from our home, we have unlimited access to all courses, we have top educators, full syllabus coverage, double doubt clearing session, live test series, study material will be given in form of PDF format. We have proper answer writing session for every student under a mentor and guidance. So indirectly, this will help a lot to every UPSC aspirant. And this is also like a one-stop solution for your complete UPSC CSC preparation. Like we have structured batches, we have batches in Hindi, English, bilingual, late night as well as 2-year batches, full 100% syllabus coverage, vast range of optional prelims, main test series. We had double doubt clearing session, daily current affair practice, essay and answer writing practice. Along with that, we'll provide you performance analysis as well as interview preparation for your further complete UPSC CSE preparation. So if you subscribe now, you will get 10% off. So you just need to apply this code SIMPLYT and you will get 10% extra off. So don't waste your time. So we have Unacademy Champions Conclave also with the power pack session by our toppers of UPSC CSE 2019. So this conclave was must attend for like every UPSC CSE aspirant, and it succeeded in the country's more coveted exam with the free to attend conclave, and that dedicated a day to learn about the preparation journey of 2019 toppers. And you would also get your tips and tricks for preparation, the ones who actually cracked it. So we had like 14 toppers, 10 top educators, and we have 14 talks. So as we all said that as we all promised you that we'll provide you with a daily current affair test series that is completely free, and it will be given on 7:30 daily for 20 question 20 minutes and for 40 marks, and you will be given your test analysis also at the end of the test. So if you really like our channel, then you can like, subscribe and share, and you can also join in YouTube, Telegram and Facebook. So let's start our topic. As we all know that the equality roots are basically are taken from the French Revolution from 1789, and they basically fought for three important rights of every individual, that is liberty, equality and fraternity. And no other right can exist as a complete right, because they all the three rights are interdependent on each other. So liberty and equality are basically taken together, and it tries to describe the conditions of human emancipation. So as we know that they constitute the voice of the oppressed and the voice against injustice, the voice changing for the unfair social conditions. So liberty and equality in the sense can be interpreted as the complementary principles, and they may sometimes also appear as mutually contradictory in nature also. We can also see that it is very essential for us to understand the nature and essence of equality in order to determine the every proper relationship between the liberty and justice. So the idea of equality, so the problem of equality and inequality was figured out in the political thought since ancient time, as we all know. from the Aristotle's discovered that the inequality was a cause of rebellion in many a state. So he tried to define the justice as like treating everyone as equals and unequals unequally. So this was a typical statement that he actually insisted upon on the recognition of maintenance of the existing inequality in society. Therefore, we can also observe that he was giving preference to the slavery system. So according to him, that was the justice. So he said that the inequalities actually should be maintained, like the master and slave, rich and poor, morally superior, inferior, and so on. So the idea of like the modern idea of equality is very contrary, as we all know, because it tries to seek the reduction of all the inequalities by providing them like they can be proved to be unjust according to the all prevailing social consciousness also. So equality is as we all know, is not just a statement of right, but it is not a fact. The modern idea of equality, as we know, was derived from the theory of rights, because equality is prescriptive term and men must be treated equal and not that they are fact equal. So the advanced some logic in support of our claim of to human equality. So the introduction of equality was not intended to dilute the content of liberty, but to make it like much more relevant and substantive also. So the principle of equality is invoked to basically prevent like some of the section of a society from acquiring unlimited money, power, and prestige. It is also intended to basically restrict the element of exploitation that is prevalent in our society, so that other sections of society are not deprived of their due share in these advantages that are given under the idea of equality. So basically, as we all can understand, the equality tries to aim basically looking forward to the widening of the base of the social benefits, by the least these benefits are cornered by like small and vocal minority by empowering them with the rest of the community. So as we know the equality as a modern idea, because as a principle, if we try to understand this, the principle of correcting the unjust inequalities in society is like a today's modern day idea of equality, whereas it was very different in the ancient period of time. So there is no doubt that the large inequalities of wealth, prestige, and powers are prominent in our society, and they're universal feature for every social structure that was present in the human history. So if we look at the traditional thinkers, so they talk about the phenomenon of social equality as something that is like divinely ordained, which means that this has been inherited in a society and given to us. So basically, they sought to demonstrate that the man could lead an ideal life according to his predetermined status that was already there, because we take our wealth, status, and prestige from our parents and family. So therefore it is also like divinely ordained. So this thought of this mode of thought was like quite natural to the slave owning society, or the feudal or the caste based, we can say, which were not just based on proper scientific reasoning, but they took social order like a natural order, that is someone is not capable of change by the human design or effort. So we can see that with the changes of scientific age, when a man learned to control the natural phenomena by his rational and empirical knowledge of nature, they also tended to also evolve a rational knowledge of the social structures, we can see. And if we try to understand that, many thinkers try to sort to discover the real foundation of social inequalities, and they had like given a proper subjective them to a rational analysis also. So with the we can understand from these points that with the coming of the scientific age, it made basically where it made thinkers think about the various social inequalities that are there, and various factors that were responsible for the social inequalities, and they were providing their rationale, they were presenting their rationality through a rational analysis by using all the scientific methods. And as we know that the scientific method is objective in nature and it can be counted, so we have a proper rationality also to understand the foundation of social inequalities. So we can also say that the social thinkers of the modern age basically were lead to inquire, like, first, that how far the existing inequalities in a society were product of social arrangement and could therefore be altered by making some of the corresponding changes in a social structure. And second, we were looking at that how far all these social inequalities were there which were alterable, like which can be like changed, so the upheld can could be upheld by the proper reasoning. So the main idea of this line of thinking is basically to give way for removing all the social inequalities that were so called not reasonable, and which were also like proper removable by our human effort. So if we look at to equality was the idea of social change, so we can talk about Rousseau. He wrote in his discourse on origin of inequality in 1755. He also drew an important distinction between two type of inequalities that is present in every social life. That is the natural inequality, and the second is the conventional inequality. So as we know, the natural inequality is basically a statement of fact that is there, like the difference between ages, health, bodily structures, qualities of mind, and so are something natural and which cannot be altered or changed. And what about the conventional inequalities? Basically, it consists of the different privileges of some men and they enjoy to the exclusion of others, like such as inequalities of wealth, power, prestige, which was not natural but they were there present in a society. So this one form of inequality is not dependent upon human choice, but it was, as I was talking about in the last slide, that it was more or less like ordained from nature and which is given to us. So the other form of inequality, as we are talking about the conventional equality, is a largely man-made equality, and it emanates the social order from more or less deliberately. It was designed for the men by themselves. So the recognition of conventional inequalities basically provides an ample scope to review on the basis of social distinction and how to restructure the social relations according to new concepts of social justice. We can also see the French Declaration of Rights of Man and Citizens in 1789 was also inspired from Rousseau's ideas that men are born and they remain free and equal in their rights, because the social distinctions can be easily based upon the public utility. Therefore, the demand for equality has always raised a question for a demand of social change, and these changes is basically part of the social structure which needs to be alterable as well as unjust. So now let's talk about equality does not imply the literal equality. So as we all know that equality basically determines and it demands for a proper progressive reduction of inequalities where they're thought to be like unreasonable. It does not imply of literal equalization. In other words, that inequality in society must be thought to be reasonable or unreasonable according to the prevalent idea of social justice. So according to the prevalent view of the ancient slaves owning society or the medieval feudal society or the capitalist, the inequality was always present between the master slave, lord serf, capitalist worker, and they were also regarded as reasonable. So, with the development of the socialist view of justice, especially the Marxian view, the inequality was basically regarded as unjust and unreasonable, and therefore he challenged this inequality. So Marx and Engels basically demonstrated that the division of society into classes like the capitalist workers, bourgeois and proletariats, haves and have-nots basically involves all the proper exploitation that was there, and this was like a prejudicial to the development of conditions that was there for the human happiness. So the idea of equality like does not contemplate that all the material goods and the entire national income and all educational opportunities are basically available in society and should be like equally distributed among the all the members of society, whereas it rather means that men who are different in physical And mental capacities, aptitude, skill, talent, energy should also be given a proper opportunity for the development of their personal qualities and capacities that were also in shape of material goods, comforts, education, and training. So second was about the rational grounds of discrimination was that if equality does not imply the literal equality in terms of distribution of rights and advantages, but is bound to accept also discrimination on certain grounds. So since we defend the principle of equality on the basis of reason, logic, we can also like say that the equality allows a discrimination on rational, reasonable, logical, and relevant grounds. So what is reasonable and what is not is basically depends on the human consciousness that is given in the society. Like for a purpose, the rational grounds of discrimination could be determined according to the everyone's modern consciousness. And two area for making special provision, that is the discrimination favor of certain cases, like the special provision needs to made in the case of the need, and special rewards for the excellence should be given. There are no means for the simple formula, but each case would be need a proper scrutiny before any discrimination is actually made. So let's talk about the special provision. As we know, it applies to the both like upon upon mention of liabilities and concession that should be given. So progressive like taxation system would also like be spared to the lower income slabs, while the tax go increasing on the higher slabs. So those with lower are exempted because they're unable to pay tax and they are supposed to be already living in a very substantive level. So therefore, the provision of social service has to made according to the needs of various section and not according to the amount of taxes that they pay for financing of these services. So therefore, the benefit of cheap transport, postal services, schools, hospital, libraries, and all the public places are largely be availed for whoever pays very little towards their financing. So the scholarship is given on merit cum means basis. That means the merit would be a second criteria, and the means would be their first criteria. So public will fines would kept basically readily available to the rush aid to the victims of fire, flood, famine, earthquake, epidemic, war, or any crime. And the state is basically obliged to provide with the uneconomic roads and other essential goods to the people, such as transport, water, electricity, and fuel, and etc. at a very subsidized rates in order to meet the genuine needs of the community. And the reservation in jobs and other advantages for the disadvantaged weak or the weaker sections such as women, handicap, and the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe are basically largely conform to this proper criteria. Now we can talk about the special reward for excellence should be given to people. So as we know, the doctrine of equality is sometimes dubbed with the philosophy of poverty also. So it not only because it basically tends to serve the cause for poor, but it also tries to impoverish the society into certain standards of excellence. Let's talk about the David Hume. He also argued that the equality would be endangered the virtues of art, care, and industry, and instead of preventing want in a very few, it would lead to the empowerment of the entire society. So we can see such a view is either based on a proper misunderstanding or misrepresentation of the principle of equality, and such apprehension about the impact of equality can stem from its interpretation of the liberal equalization of the rewards, irrespective of all the talents, efforts, and even the needs of the various individual that is there. So, a rational view of equality it does not accept this position because, in a fact, that the faith in equality neither implies equalization of results nor the disrespect for of excellence. So a special provision for excellence is itself a basic tenet of the principle of equality, and it comes into play when the basic needs have largely been met and special talents efforts are to be given to special reward that are provided that they are very beneficial for the society. Now let's debate on the reverse discrimination. So if we look at the principle of equality that has been like interpreted to concede on the discrimination in the favor of some deprived sections of society, this would not go unchallenged because in United States we can see that this issue has like given rise to a debate of reverse discrimination. It means when a favored treatment is accorded to the deprived section, then it is particularly to the blacks or women, and others have a ground to complain that they are being deprived of proper equality of opportunity. So this discrimination was in favor of all the deprived section, and the results in discrimination was against the general category. When some sections were basically entitled to a privileged access to job authorities, higher education, or professional training, it involves a reverse discrimination towards other section, and it argued that if equality means like proper removal of discrimination, then there is no justification for turning the existing discriminatory practice on the basis of race and sex in the reverse direction. And some of the champions of like affirmative action for the deprived sections also argued that since blacks and women like who are actually who were deprived of proper adequate opportunities for the development path, they should now be compensated for their loss. And others contended that the preferential treatment to some section will help in fulfilling the objective of equality. And for instance, we can take that a increase in the number of black doctors, lawyers would also like establish their real equality with the whites. So still like some others also claim that since the opportunity of advancement in social life is also very scarce, and these should be also be allotted not just merely on the ground of merit but also on the basis of their proper need. And the need of deprived sections is so pressing that if they have a minimum required qualifications, they should be given a preferential treatment in terms of allocation of jobs, educational opportunities, and so that they can enable to escape the tough competition. Now let's talk about the affirmative action. So as we know, the public policies like which accords the special concession in the matters of admission to sort like after the courses of education, training, appointments, promotion, and using healthcare and etc. We can also see those who were deprived of proper adequate opportunities in open competition were particularly due to some discriminatory practices of the past. So it meant basically by giving them a proper compensation for the injustice that has been done to them in the past, like the women, blacks, and the backward communities. So among all the opponents of affirmative action, the champions of neo-conservatism holds that the special equality in society can only be applied in the sphere of equality of opportunity. So an attempt has been made to establish the literal equality by affirmative action that would be very disastrous because it would erode the spontaneous respect for the merit and authority, which was the foundation of the social stability and progress. And others also argue that such affirmative action can also be implementable to the procedural justice. So if blacks and women are collectively given will get favored treatment over the whites and men rather than individually as deprived person, it is quite likely that the rich and socially advantaged women would happen to be opinion leaders of certain categories person and would get a proper preference over the poor and underprivileged whites and men. So it is also argued that the whites and the men of a present generation are not just responsible for the injustice that has been meted out by the older generation of blacks and women, but basically to penalize them for no fault of theirs is a tantamount to a departure from the substantive justice. And finally, like some of the opponents of affirmative action try to contend that in the personal dignity and self-respect are the cornerstone of the philosophy of equality. So if a person knows that his or her position is a reward of a preferential treatment rather than his or her merit, it will hurt his or her own self-respect and give a rise to a feeling of inferiority. So again over here we can talk about the creamy layer that has been the part of the backward community which was basically relatively very advanced and well off, and this sought to be excluded from the concession that was only meant for backward community in the question. Now what are the dimensions of equality? The first dimension is the legal equality. As we know, the demand for legal equality that has been a grant to the equal status that has been given to all individual in a society irrespective of the birth, physical, mental and capacities. So even Rousseau in a social contract in 1762 observed that the extension of legal equality to all the citizens was a primary characteristic of civil society. And he wrote that it is that instead of destroying the natural equality, the fundamental pact substitutes a moral and lawful equality for the physical inequality within nature imposed upon men. And so that although the unequal in strength or intellect, they all became equal in convention and legal right. And the idea of legal equality can be taken from the moral consideration that basically serves for the basis of equal rights of men. We can also talk about the Barker in his Principle of Social and Political Theory in 1951 also argued that the state which vests with the legal personalities or the mass basically vests us with the equal mass, and partly because it cannot be simply distinguish our difference, and even if it would, but ultimately from a far deeper reason that we all the matter equally before the law, and whatever our differences may be. So the principle of equality, according that means that whatever the conditions are guaranteed to me in the form of rights shall also be in the same measure and be guaranteed to the others, that whatever the rights are given to others shall also be given to me. So the legal equality is taken often taken granted in today was in the fact one after the prolonged struggle in human history, and the ancient societies usually did not even entertain the idea of legal equality. So the principle of legal equality, like equality before law, comprises of the legal justice. We can talk about the present world. Even the locus in this principle of politics observe that equality before law does not guarantee equal treatment by the law, but the equal access to law and the consideration of only of those factors that are laid by law that are relevant. So nobody is like lowly as not to have the recourse to the courts, and nobody is so mighty as to have to answer to the courts. Like anybody can invoke the courts age. Everybody must render them to obedience, and the courts will decide all the disputes after hearing the judgment of the two sides, both which is fairly and impartially without any fear and favor. So the legal equality basically implies with the equal subjection of citizen to the law and equal protection of the laws for all citizens. And we can also understand the legal equality, which itself is not just guarantee of justice in a society, but is characterized by the extremes of wealth and poverty in India. So equality before law can be secured through equal benefit of the law for all the citizens only when the citizens can equally afford to approach the courts of law for restoration of their rights and recompense of any injury that has been inflicted to them. Even Harold J. Lasky in the State in Theory and Practice in 1935 has also observed that nor we must also forget the fact that the wealth is a decisive factor in the power to take advantage of all the equality of opportunities. The law affords its citizens to protect their rights, and the ability is also to undertake an action in the courts, and even that is made to legal for the power that remains very grim to the financial side also. So in India we can also see a proper drawback of the legal equality, in which whereas an innocent poor is hardly able to defend himself in the court because he does not have so much money which can so he does not have so much money so that he can afford the justice for himself. And we can also see therefore it is evident from here that though the legal equality, it actually represents an important achievement of a modern state, but it is not an adequate with it is without any suitable changes in our social economic structure. Now let's talk about the political equality. Basically, that means equality of political rights of every citizen. It implies or basically represented through proper decision making of body, like on equal footing, like one man, one vote basis, and it actually postulates that nobody will be barred from holding any political office on the grounds of birth, religion, and sex. We can also see that there is no privileged class in the society that has been entitled to rule, and the rulers will not accord to any consideration to the will and interest of any particular individual or group in society. So the doctrine of political equality is basically derived from a general belief that man as such is a rational being and capable of a political judgment irrespective of his physical or mental capacity, education, wealth, and etc. And also proceeds at the assumption that when the equal political rights are extended to men, they will also be able to give the best expression to all the common good. That is true. They prevail upon the policymakers to adjust the public policy to the requirements of the common good. So this was originated along with the legal equality that we can also talk about the French Revolution, because they were demanding demanding for equality, that will be removal for the arbitrary privilege that was given to a particular rich and well-born class only. So the development of liberal theory or the political equality can also be like identified from the democratic rights of citizens and the universalization to the franchise, equal freedom to express, hold up public opinions like without any fear, favor, an equal right of to form association to influence any political decisions also. So now political equality has started as a progressive idea also, and it also leads to the establishment of democracy in the Western world, and therefore we can see that it found an inadequate by the masses whose hopes and aspirations were basically were believed by the prevailing social economic inequalities, and the achievement of political equality can be followed by the demand for socio-economic equality. From we can talk about the Tocqueville, who was talking about the French author on democracy in America. Basically, he was talking about the discrepancy between the political equality and the economic equality would not be definitely accepted by the democratic people itself. And let's talk about the socio-economic equality. So basically, it enables, as we all know, the social and economic equality, which mean it has the aspects that are closely related to that, and we can consider it together. So it plays a very significant role in the legal political equality because it represents through a proper formal interpretation as the absence of discrimination with a little impact to the socio-economic structure of society and social economic equality that demands for a proper substantive interpretation also, that would be used as a force behind the proper social change. So the idea of the legal and political equality arose as the cry for the earlier liberalism also, and the concept of socio-economic equality was articulated as a main goal for the socialism. So it will also we can further understand that the concept with the development of concept of equality, and it is like a very progressive idea which was like later adopted by positive liberal theory also. And this term was used by the socialists that was largely distinguished from the objective from the earlier egalitarian ideals of French Revolution. The men of 1789 basically sought equality before law that must be through men to eliminate the aristocratic legal privilege and the feudal obligation, like the Jacobins also in the 19th century Republicans, whom their mantle was descended, sought to from political equality or the universal suffrage. So the socialists, these ends themselves seem to be inadequate. Also, we can see that they are the best ways of achieving the real equality of social equality without any political equality is also considered as an illusion. So we can see the Republicans were basically supported by the Republican government. That is a form of government that was the head of the state of an elected president rather than a monarch, and it consists of the sovereign power that was vested in the people either directly or through the elected representative. So the demand of legal political equality was raised to press the claims of the new middle class like the merchant industrialist class or the bourgeois to the political power, and the demand for socio-economic inequalities would put forward to assert the rights of a working class or the proletariat to enable them to shape their destiny. Now we can also understand basically they wanted to replace feudalism by capitalism, while the socio-economic equality was only meant to promote socialism in order to rectify all the faults of capitalism. So over here the Marxian socialism was made from socio-economic equality with its supreme goal to advocate by replacing the capitalist system itself by a socialist system with a view of securing a classless society in the progress. So it is very evident from here. We can see the slogan of the legal and political equality was raised as a very progressive idea, and in order to secure the liberty, equality and justice was itself the humanity. So this was slogan of equality was also like taken in order to carry the mission of so-called progress to its logical conclusion. So we can also distinguish the legal, political equality in the respective and the sale of measurement, that the legal basically it gives us implies a recognition of the equal of legal personalities in each individual, and political equality that asserts one man one vote for the economic, for the socio-economic equality that exists on the equal shares of all. So we can also like see that it also tries to demand the reduction of inequalities that is there in our society. So absence of a absolute standard like a perfect equality in the socio-economic sphere, and it insists on the progressive extension of the social benefits to the underprivileged and the weaker sections of society. And this led to the transition from formal to substantive equality, from negative to positive. And the ideal condition of the socio-economic equality was expressed in Lewis' classic formula that from each according to its ability and according to its need should be given. And this principle was then adopted by the Marx himself, that was projected in the communist society, which was characterized by the highest technological development, so universal labor and the classless society. So what was abundant production to meet the social needs, basically by ensuring the satisfaction of everybody's needs, a condition that is required for perfect happiness. So therefore it tries to postulate the equal satisfaction of all the basic needs that needs to be given in terms of education, employment, services, cheap transport and everything that is required to serve the cause of socio-economic equality. Now let's talk about the welfare state. So the main objective of the state is to take care of all the basic needs of every citizen, like food, clothing, shelter, healthcare, education, and etc. And who cannot afford from their income or other resources. So it makes a use of all the public resources and taxation that is given by the rich people to provide a vast network of social services and social security. So basically, the Marxian ideology tries to secure the socio-economic equality by the wholesale replacement of the capitalist system through the socialization of the major means of production, and making the work compulsory for every citizen. Now let's talk about the liberty and equality. As we know, the principle of liberty tries to stipulates the equal liberty and freedom for everyone. So if one freedom becomes unfreedom of another, it would also be against the spirit of freedom itself. So the freedom of the strong tries to destroy the freedom of the weak, and the freedom of the clever undermines the freedom of simple, or the rich turn out to be constrained on the poor. So it would also amount to a negation of the freedom that is a universal in principle. So liberty and equality are a very complementary principle, and this view should see with the imposition of reasonable restrictions on everyone's freedom, because one's freedom of one does not stand in the way of similar or equal freedom of another. So if we see in a primitive society, nobody is allowed to use his physical or manipulative power to harm any member of his society. So we can also see that the property can also be used to hire like basic talents and labor power. So therefore the property is also like the most permanent instrument for the depriving others of their freedom. And in other words, we can also see that the vast socio-economic inequality in our society are not just compatible with the principle of freedom. So therefore, it turns out that the demand of substantive freedom basically stipulates the provision of substantive equality, and can be also turn calls for the reduction of the vast economic disparity also. So those who wish to like maintain these disparities on the ground of rich have accumulated the riches by the just means, and try to hide the true relation between the liberty, equality and justice. So the principle of equality demanded radical change for all the social arrangement that is there, which enables one section of society to gain undue control over the lives of other. And over here, T.H. Harold Lasky, Macpherson also regard liberty and equality are also complementary principles. So thank you so much, guys.